Hi, this is Dan Lexi from Dan Schultz Outdoors, reminding you to keep the adventures alive.
Hey y'all, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Colleen. And we're the Keel Quest. And we want you to keep the adventures alive. Cheers!
Hey, this is Darren from Ride Paddle Repeat, encouraging you to keep the adventures alive.
This is David from Beachley Ironworks saying keep the adventures alive.
Hey, Kevin with an A here. Keep the adventure alive.
Hi, I'm Dan Mayotte. Keep the adventures alive.
Hi, I'm Kevin Collin, the Happy Camper. Remember, keep the adventures alive. Awesome!
Woo, buddy! Shug here! Keep the adventures alive. I am.
Ethan here, the avid outdoorsy guy, reminding you to keep the adventures alive.
We're John and Aaron.
Keep the adventures alive.
Hey everyone, it's Kylan from Lure of the North, and I encourage you to keep the adventures alive.
This is Sky North telling you, keep the adventures alive. And now on with the show.
Hey, welcome and happy Tuesday to everybody. Hope everybody's had a great week. Welcome to another episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show, a show that's going to bring you a lot closer to the great outdoors. My name is Dennis, also known as Canoehound, and if this is your first time tuning into the show tonight, welcome. Thanks very much for coming out and watching the show. We got a great one for you tonight. And hopefully, you know what? We are live here every Tuesday evening, but you know what? Hopefully you'll enjoy the show enough that maybe you'll hit that subscribe button. And if not, at least hit that like button down there because tonight's guest is well worth the like. Let's see here. We got a few things to get through here before we get into introducing tonight's guest. And I see everybody is popping into the live stream over there. That is great. Please continue to do so. Do a little bit of networking, get to know each other in the chat. And I see right now in the chat, I'm just going to hit a show there and a show there. We've got, for some reason, this thing keeps flagging a lot of my my comments that are coming in. But moderators, you can do your job to moderate this live chat. That would be great. Before we get rocking on tonight's show, I just want to obviously shoot a shout out and thank you to all of my channel sponsors, the ones that make this show possible. First off, we have our good friends over at Algonquin Outfitters who are currently celebrating their 60th anniversary. I've mentioned this the last couple of weeks that they have a fantastic giveaway going on their website. So you want to go there and check that out to have a chance to win. They got some really fantastic prizes. They're giving away well over $4,000 worth swag and a guided trip and all kinds of neat things like that. So get over there and get yourself signed up and registered. Also, a great thanks to our friends over at Kid Products. They are the makers of the Kid's Twig Stove and Reflector Oven. Two of my favorite apparatuses to take out with me on camping trips. Great way to save fuel with those twig stoves and, lighten your load quite a bit. But you can check them out at kihdproducts.com. And also, of course, our one of our newer sponsors to the show are Hunter and Harris Paddles. They make handcrafted, high-quality canoe paddles, and I've got two, and I could vouch for them to say that these things are truly a work of art and a paddle that you'll cherish for many, many, many years to come. The fact that they're handcrafted right here in Ontario is a great thing. Even if you're not from the Ontario area, they are a fantastic paddle, so by all means, check them out. And of course, we also got our good friends over at the Short Hills Beard Company. They're the ones that take care of, keeping this scruff on my face looking good. So thanks very much to them. You can check them out at shorthillsbeardco.com. All of their links are in the description below. If you want to check them out, please do go down there and click on that. Last week's show, if you missed last week's show, man, you missed a real hoot. We had the Baird brothers on. We had Jim and Ted on. We were talking about their 700-kilometer northern Manitoba trip, which the videos are still coming out for that. So if you haven't been watching the series about their trip, by all means, man, tune in. Both Jim and Ted are posting right now videos for their trip. I'll tell you, last week they had us in stitches. They were being typical brothers on the show, throwing funny stuff at each other. We'll just say that. But by all means, you definitely have to check out last week's show if you haven't. It's in my playlist for season 2 and season 3. So by all means, check that out as well. Congratulations to last week's winner of the swag giveaway, the Outdoor Nerd, who was the winner of last week's swag giveaway, like I said, and your prize is officially in the mail. Thanks for sending me your credentials, and everything is now on its way to you. Just wanted to do a membership shout out to my channel members, and most notably my solo paddler channel members, Sty North, Kevin with an A, Canadian Drifter, Pam Bookham, and Jeremy Walla. Thanks for your continued support and channel memberships. Definitely helps this channel to grow. Thank you very much. And if anybody's interested in becoming a channel member, right down around here somewhere, you'll see a join button. By all means, click on that, get some details on becoming a Canoehound adventurer. I see Paulo Dart has just become a channel member. Thank you very much. If you do become a channel member, please do send me your email or email me. I'm just going to put this here on screen so that you know where we are. But send me an email so I can get your information and get you started with all your perks and benefits for becoming a channel member. Thank you very much for that. Also, to anybody who may be interested, I had a couple people this past week who have bought me a coffee or a beer through buymeacoffee.com. Thank you very much for that. And the beer has come in, and I am going to be using that tonight to get our toast to the backcountry out tonight. So sorry, just trying to tickle too many things at one time. So anyways, a weekly thing that we're doing here is the toast of the backcountry. And if you have a beverage ready, please do get it ready. If you don't have one, run to the fridge really quick, because maybe you're quick enough to get back before I finish with the toast. Anyways, tonight's toast is in honor of a fairly regular here on the show and somebody that we know quite well, Mr. Hap Wilson, who is celebrating his 70th birthday today. For all that he's done and for the paddling community and his education and his legacy, I propose a toast to Hap Wilson's birthday. Hap, here's to you, buddy. Cheers. Hope you're watching. If not, I know you'll be watching the replay. So to everybody, Hap Wilson. All right. That is excellent. I'm dripping sweaty can here all over my keyboard. I'm going to get if you see sparks flying, don't run, okay? Anyways, there's not much more to go here except for to say next week, I just want to let everybody know there's not going to be a show next week. It's a Thanksgiving weekend. My family and I, we go away for the Thanksgiving weekend with a bunch of friends. And I just haven't got time to prepare the show properly because we'll be leaving Friday and not coming back until late Monday. And that just doesn't give me enough time to prepare a show because, believe it or not, a lot goes into preparing these shows. But I do want to say that we will be returning on October the 19th. That's a Tuesday night as regular at 7 p.m. And we'll be joined by special guests Glenn Green and Carol Vandenwagel from Canoe for Change. If you're not familiar with Canoe for Change, look it up, canoeforchange.org. We have some really, really interesting things to talk about. They're adventurers who have paddled across Canada with a little bit of coaching from Mike Ranta. And I happened to meet this couple on a canoe trip, my last big canoe trip up in August, and they got us out of a pickle. I will leave it with that because we need to leave a little bit of mystery around it. But we will be talking about how they saved mine and my canoe partners' behinds on the trip. So let's just leave it at that. So you'll want to tune in October 19th for that. And then October 26th, that's the last Tuesday of the month, we will be joined by the popular YouTuber and adventurer from Newfoundland, Canada, Mr. Justin Barber. Yes, many of you have asked for Justin, and we have finally set up a date to have him on the show. So by all means, put that on your calendars because you'll want to keep up to date with that. And if you want more information on these shows and what's coming up and all that kind of neat stuff, follow me on Facebook at Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show, and you can get all the show details and updates that are of what's going to be coming up. Enough of that blabber. Once again, if you have any hot topics as well that you would like to see on the show or guests that you'd like to see on the show, drop me an email. That's how most of our guests this season already have come about being on the show, are from suggestions from people like yourselves. Okay, you send me suggestions and I put them in a list, and then I start going through the list and I start contacting these people. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of footwork, but it's worth doing to bring you great content. One of the people is actually somebody that's on the show tonight, so that's going to be a good one. And then also, if you have any questions for myself or tonight's guest during the show, please do put your questions in the chat over there, but put the word question before your question so that I know it's a question, and I'll try to get it on screen. But if I don't worry. After our swag giveaway at 8 o'clock, I will be inviting you up on panel. So if you're brave enough to jump up on panel, I'll drop the link in the chat, and you are more than welcome to come up here, and we'll try and get anywhere between 5 and 10 people, depending on how time is, to come on up and ask our guests a question. So it's a great way to really get to know them and get a good question out there. Anyways, without further ado, let's introduce tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is a YouTuber whose channel has grown quite quickly over the past year. Born in Ontario, currently living in Toronto. He enjoys outdoor adventures of all sorts: camping, canoeing, climbing, trail running, bushcraft. He kind of does a lot of it all, right? He likes entertaining, informative, and concise adventure videos with a dribble of humor. His fast-paced video edits keep you captivated and waiting for more. Please welcome to the show, Xander Budnick. Xander Budnick, how you doing, man?
Dennis, how you doing?
Good. Wow.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I tripped over my tongue about 50 times on that one, but we got through it, eh?
That's good. I like what you added to that intro. Perfect.
Good stuff. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm surprised to be here. Not surprised, but I'm honored to be here. We had Liz Stroud on the show 2 weeks ago, and then the Baird brothers, who won alone. I've been following them forever. Same with Les Stroud, and then you have me. It's like I'm so honored, man. It's so
cool. You're deserving. You're very deserving. I've been following your channel here of late, and like I say, I said in the intro there, your channel has really shot off. You and I were talking in the green room, and you said since January you've
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's the winter camping videos. I think so. January I had about 1,000 viewers, and I kind of set a goal. So last year I actually shot my first winter camping video ever. And that just did really, really well. So I did 2 more that year, plus maybe 5 or 6 canoe videos, which did not so great. And then this year I'm okay, as soon as winter comes around, I'm just going to get out there as much as possible and film and post winter camping videos. And people just like them. They like the winter camping. They think it's pretty gnarly. I love it. I think it's probably almost easier than camping in bug season or other times of the year, but people resonate to it. They gravitate to that type of video, and something about the style that I put out, people like too, which is flattering. And I couldn't be more honored,
Isn't it funny how when you talk to people and you say, "Yeah, I'm going winter camping," they kind of look at you funny and go, like, "Are you crazy?"
Oh
Yeah,
man.
what you just said, in some ways, it's a lot nicer than camping in the summertime.
So my brother, he's been winter camping for like 2 or 3 years, and I don't know what his inspiration was behind it, but he made this like really goofy looking hot tent out of tarps with like a chimney inside it, and he was doing it about a year and a half before I did, and he's like, Xander, you got to come with me. I'm like, yeah, man, winter camping, that sounds just like terrible, and so last year he convinced me, and I went and I filmed it, and it was awesome. There's so many reasons why it's like just as good, if not better, than summer camping. Well, no bugs, no bears, and you can keep your food outside. You can bring anything you want,
Yeah,
and it's beautiful.
Keep your food outside if you don't mind eating an ice brick.
Yeah,
sporting, right?
Yeah, there's complications. But.
Yeah. So where do you tend to do your winter camping? Are you more of a provincial park type of guy, or do you like the Crown Land?
Crown Land, yeah, as much as possible, definitely, because like I like to, set up in remote areas. I don't like going to campsites as much as possible. So often just Crown Land. I go on the Crown Land Use Policy Atlas, and I just like cross-reference that with Google Earth and try to find like nice remote places. And everything in the winter just looks beautiful. So it doesn't matter if you're in like a provincial park or just like, I don't know, some bog. It's all pretty.
Sure. Yeah. I'd like to obviously get into some of your tripping and stuff, but first I wanted to talk to you or ask you some of the stuff about the way you edit your videos. And I think it has a direct bearing on the popularity of your channel is the way you keep people captivated, like your editing style. What can you tell us about that?
I just so I think a lot of people nowadays have short attention spans, including myself. And like people just don't have time for it. People don't have time for the long videos. There's a lot of camping videos, and I'll be honest, like I didn't watch a lot of camping videos before because I found them to be too slow paced. And so when I started making my own camping videos, I did them with my own style, which is more reminiscent of other types of content creators out there and things that I take inspiration from, which is not usually the camping scene. So when I took that kind of editing style and brought it to camping and adventure content, I think it just hit a mark with people. Like they can sit down and watch like a 15-minute video as opposed to, an hour-long video of just like a single night. And I like to take people for like, it's not just about the experience. There's like bits of humor, cooking, and just like beautiful shots. And so,
yeah, I like that you were like a lot of I think it was the last video post before the one you put out for this one here, when you're like driving up the logging road in your little rendezvous and you're bouncing all over the place. You got yourself stuck. It's like, you got the humor out in those instances, right? So
it often is not even like intentional. I find like sometimes my jokes like over people's heads, and they're not really the funny parts. I think just like me putting myself in the situations, like people can relate to it too.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the things like I'd like to talk about too, is like a lot of people think you need all this equipment, which I have now, but a lot of people think you need all this equipment and all this experience to get out into the woods, when really you just need to start getting out, and you'll learn much faster by learning the hard way, forgetting your raincoat. I mean, it can be dangerous, but or getting eaten alive by bugs, or not having a sleeping pad, or not having an adequate sleeping bag.
Right.
As long as you're not like pushing the envelope of like, the danger, it's like, just getting out there and learning, little bits the hard way is the best way to learn. A lot of people are scared to even try, So.
Yeah. And you're talking about like, the quick and short edits and stuff like that. Today you launched your video from a recent trip that you did with John from Lost Lakes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that, everybody? John from Lost Lakes.
Yeah.
And I had to do a power watch. I was actually at work, and it's a good thing that I own the business, so that's okay. But I sat in my office and I spent the hour, I think 14 minutes or whatever, hour and 12 minutes watching what was a 12-day trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
It blows my mind how you compress like a 14-day trip into that. I see everybody, sorry about that. I see my internet is really sucking here. So if I disappear for a minute, everybody, I will be back. Okay. But
we'll just start reading the questions then.
Yeah. No, I'm still here. I'm just really, really blurry on screen.
If you were to.
Yeah. If I were to. But yeah, so like you compressed a 12-day trip into like an hour and 10. That's like 10 minutes a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Some days are longer than others. Other days, well, I actually lost audio on 2 days, and it would go over people's heads because the way I edited it. I just did like quick little sequences. Unfortunately, nothing really happened those days. So it's like, what's the point of really even showing it? If you're to watch like a documentary, they're like a documentary of like a big adventure, they're an hour and a half long, maybe 2 hours tops. And it's just like, they have to cut so much stuff out. And these trips are way larger. So it's really about getting to like the core of what happens. And I think people can like ramble on or just like add fluff or nonsense or just boring parts to videos that just don't necessarily need to be there, and they lose audience. So for me, if it's not like as good as I think it can be, like I try to cut it or shorten it, or if it's not adding to the story, if it's not like funny or pretty or like kind of hits you emotionally some way, make you feel good or kind of concerned or whatever. Like what's the point?
Sure. No,
right.
But yeah, like I say, it keeps you captivated, right?
Yeah.
I was telling you in the green room how I've got a trip in the can here, just like, that I'm trying to edit, and it was an 8-day trip, and I'm having such a hard time editing it. And I'm thinking about like, doing like a 3 or 4 part video. Right. And then I see something like yours where you're compressing, 12 days into an hour and 10 minutes. And it just kind of blows my mind that you could pick apart that much. Maybe you just have that creative mindset that allows you to do that, right?
Maybe like it's taken time. Like I feel like in the past I would have made this like a 6-hour epic because I wanted to include everything, every little detail, because I thought that people might like certain parts of it where it's boring and they don't see it that way. You kind of have to look at it, like disconnect yourself from it, because when we look at our own content, it's really easy to be attached to it. And like people don't see it the same way that you see it. So it's about just dissecting it. It's like, what would people like? And, you're competing with the billions of other videos out there.
Yeah.
So how do you keep that attention? And it just comes down to that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Mind if I throw a couple of questions up from the chat here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here, because there's a few good ones coming in here. I don't know if this is a question you want to answer or not, just for privacy or not. But yeah, Joel,
I'm a YouTuber now.
For a living.
I'm a YouTuber now. Yeah, full-time YouTuber. I've worked as a male model for the last like 11 years, and I still do that on the side, and that's kind of always been a side gig. And that's actually given me a lot of opportunity to travel. I lived in China for a year and a half. I lived in Japan. I lived in Singapore, which is pretty cool. That's where I traveled a ton while I was there as well. But yeah, YouTube is my full-time job now since I turned on the AdSense back in like end of January. Yeah. So since then, full-time YouTuber, and couldn't be happier, because it's like, wow, it's like a dream job.
And you're obviously loving what you're doing there. That's pretty cool.
Dude, I've been wanting to do this forever. It's like, and that finally taking the plunge and dedicating like time to it. Like last year, I made sure I got out at least once a month. And before that, like I was honing my skills on other videos, which I've taken down because I'm embarrassed to keep them up. But I've been honing my skills for years to get to this point. Last year, I definitely made more of an effort. And then this year was really just like, okay, I'm just going to put one out every week. And like I heard something a while ago. It's like good thumbnail, good title, good content. And that's how you succeed on YouTube. And there's not really much more to that, which I found, it's easier said than done, right? But it's not about like looking at analytics or it is a little bit, but when it comes down to it, it's really just good thumbnail, good title, good content. And
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Mustang 774 is asking, do you shoot a ton of footage or just enough to make it easier to edit a video?
Oh man, you should ask John how much footage I shoot. He came with like 10 batteries for his Lumix and 10 batteries for his GoPro. I came with 6 batteries for my camera and like 6 for my GoPro, but I came with 10 power banks and a solar panel. And I shot about 2 terabytes worth of 4K. So I shoot a lot. Like
on this last trip with John?
On this last trip, yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. So
yeah. And then you got to sort through all that too.
Yeah. So I built a pretty good computer last year. I spent a lot of money on building that, and that was like, I've edited stuff in the past where my computer was inadequate, and so I like have a desktop. This is what keeps me like living in an apartment too. Otherwise, maybe I'll be living in a van or traveling more. Is my desktop, so I can edit. So yeah, I have a pretty good computer. Storage is obviously an issue, but it's just part of it, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like if I was a professional, if I was doing this like professionally, they're filming all the time. They're shooting in the best quality. They have to deal with that footage. So it's like, if I want to do this like the best I can, it's like about bringing the best camera. It's about using your best camera all the time in the best, with the best settings, because it's really easy. Like, oh, I don't want to use my best camera because like it's too precious to me, or you leave it at home because it's too precious. It's like you bring that, you use that, because the best camera is the one that you always have with you. So bring your best camera, and then you have the best footage. You run the risk of damaging it, but
sure,
it's the point of.
Have you ever had that happen where you've lost the camera? I know John has on a couple of occasions, but
yeah, definitely. Like not this year. This camera's fallen down so many times. So happy that it's still good. And I leave it out in the rain, and it's not exactly waterproof. So sometimes like water will like penetrate into the exposure compensation and adjust the settings. So like, after it rains, usually the next day, my footage is extremely bright, and like I just leave it. I'm like, it's good enough. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, so many questions here. Holy cow. Here's somebody here, Anna P saying, first off, Xander, I love your channel. I've been watching the entire thing. We found you a few months ago. Are you originally from Russia by chance?
No. So my last name is Budnick, and that's Ukrainian. On my grandpa's side, he moved here when he was like 3 years old, and my my dad's like half Ukrainian, half like English, and like a few other things. Mom's full German, so that's my background. But I was born in Canada.
Yeah, I think I touched on that in the intro as well.
Right.
So where does your love for the backcountry come from? You mentioned your brother, and I seen your brother, and I believe maybe your sister-in-law in one of your videos there, the Chiniguchi up in Temagami.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you and your brother, did you sort of grow up in the backcountry with dad, or?
Well, so my grandparents have a cottage up in Halliburton, so it's just south of Algonquin. And we were up there, like, I don't know, all summers, like all the time. We went to camp up there, nothing like overnight, but we did do some like backcountry camping in those camps when we were kids. And then me and my brother, we had like, well, he was always a much more adventurous than me. And my mom would just be like, Xander, you got to go with Max and make sure that he's, doing like, he's okay. So we went to Costa Rica when I was like 15. And he was 16 years old, and we did some backcountry camping in some provincial park there, which is like pretty wild. Not like now that I'm like 31 and thinking back to like how young we were and how crazy that was. And we like throughout the years, like I've always been camping. Like my mom took us camping all the time in her trailer. Like we did it across the USA once, to BC once, and like about a month each trip, and just like canoe trips, throughout the years. But Max, my older brother Max, he's been camping definitely a lot more than me for the last like 5 years, probably getting out a few times a year. And I think I was living overseas a lot of the time, but like it definitely was re-sparked again in the last 2 years. I've been traveling quite a bit, and being back in Ontario, it's like, it was kind of a crappy mindset I had. It's like, oh, what's in Ontario, and then you kind of forget what's right in your backyard. And then you get out and you re-experience it, and it's like, holy crap, this is like right under my nose. And so it really was re-sparked 2 to 3 years ago, where it's like, oh my God, like I don't need to go to BC. I don't need to go to the USA. I don't need to go across the world to experience like beautiful nature. It's like right here in my backyard. And I think I had a little bit of an accessibility thing. Like I didn't know how to approach it really. But then just like, for me getting out this year and starting to just do solos and trying it, it's like, you no longer have to like, talk to people and see if they're available. It's like, you just go. So like, yeah, definitely like the last few years has really been when it all opened up for me, for sure.
Yeah. So being a single guy, it really stops any restrictions for you getting up and going and doing what you want to do, type of thing too, right?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's kind of nice. So I see you're paddling a Novacraft canoe that's got a few miles on it. Jumping by the bottom of that thing.
Yeah. So I did the Spanish River was my first canoe trip last year. And then my brother's like I rented the canoe for $250 for like 5 days. And we get back to the outfitters, Spanish River Outfitters. And they had a bunch of like beater canoes for sale. Yeah. My brother's like, we need to buy some. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, cause I don't know where to store. I live in the city. I have a backyard here and I figured it out, but he convinced me. It didn't take much convincing, but it was his idea. Sure enough, he buys, what was it? Evergreen something. It's a whitewater canoe. It's pretty badass. And I bought the Nova Prospector. I just like the look of it. I didn't realize how sweet Royal X is. I didn't realize like what a Novacraft Prospector was at the time. I just liked the canoe. And I used it like 6 times last year, 5 times last year, and just all year this year. I bought for $300.
$300. You know what? You could probably sell it for 3 times that right now, right?
I know.
Yeah, I'm actually. It's got some stories. It doesn't even have a bottom on it anymore. You're right down. You're right down to the foam course.
I know. So I'm bringing it up to my cottage this weekend, and we're gonna do some body work on it.
Yeah. Gordon Keith is asking me right now, what's with my video? Your face is all blurry. Yeah. You know what? I'm experiencing some internet woes here. It's cleared up for the last while, but right now I'm having some issues. So if I disappear, I've dropped the resolution of my video down as well, just so I don't crap out. But please bear with me, people. If I do disappear, Xander's got instruction to, say whatever he wants. He gets to be my co-host tonight. So yeah, that's awesome. So you say you are in Toronto, but you do have a yard. Like, you're not in an apartment, so you have a place to store your equipment, obviously.
Yeah. It's pretty small, but there's enough space in my backyard to have a canoe. And my brother stores his canoe here too, because he lives in another part of the city. Yeah. It's like I like the city here and there. I love both aspects. I love people, so it's nice to be here. Like, I was just exercising at the outdoor gym here, which is nice. Just be around people. And then I like to be alone in the woods. I like it all, so probably end up leaving the city though, once I can afford a house. But for now it's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know how you can live in Toronto, man. I was through Toronto just the other day, because we went up to Ottawa to a cousin's place, and just driving through Toronto was like, oh my God, I hate it.
Depends if you're on like the 401 or the QE, or it's just chaos. Yeah. But if you're in I live in a smaller neighborhood on the East End, and it's like one-way street. Nobody comes down here. It's like I got parking. It's like parks all around. It's beautiful. It's slow, and then there's like the Danforth, which is like nice Greek food. It's not like the chaotic like downtown Rogers Center, Skydome, like craziness, or the QEW. It's charming.
Good stuff. So we're gonna get into a bit of your tripping now. You started out, you restarted your channel basically with the winter camping stuff. But what's been your most memorable trip to date? Is it like what you just finished doing with John?
That one's definitely up there. Oh man, so the Missinaibi always has a place in my heart, and that's the first video on my channel. Like, that was a big trip, and I was pretty young. I was like 18 at the time. And just I had such fond memories. It was my first time fishing and eating fish from the lake or from the river. First time running rapids. First like real scary situation out camping. We did what the bears did. We like had 2 canoes, and we lashed them together with a sail, because once you get to a certain part up north, the prevailing winds kind of come from the south. So you can like ride these winds like north. So we rigged up a sail on like halfway through our trip, and we were just like cruising for like hours, days on end. And it was just such a wonderful time. And we had these like rapids coming up called Deception Rapids on the Missinaibi River. And I think we lost Dennis, but I'll keep going. Oh, he's here. Yeah. So sorry. It's all good. So these rapids are called Deception Rapids, and we're cruising along. Our canoes are lashed together, or sails at full power, and we're just coming into these rapids, and they just like don't look intimidating, because it's called Deception Rapids. And all of a sudden they're like huge, and we had to like swerve around this big rock. Otherwise, we would have like broke up. And I think if we didn't have our canoes lashed together, we probably would have swamped. And it was just so dramatic in the moment. And coming out of that, I was like, wow, that was like really, really sketchy and so fun, you know. And then we just cruised the rest of the trip up to Moosonee, and yeah, that one has a place in my heart for sure.
Where did you start that trip? Did you start from Matisse?
Matisse, yeah. So one of my future projects I want to do, which will be a huge one, is like start from Lake Missinaba. Definitely want to do that in the future, like that full thing.
Yeah, that's the only part of the Miz I've ever done. So myself is the headwaters, all of Missinaba Lake and Bull Cow, and like all up around that area, Dog Lake, Crooked Lake.
Yeah. How was that?
Yeah.
You like that?
Oh, it's beautiful. I've actually done it twice, and it's only the Missinaba River, both the upper and the lower bucket list trips for me. But as I mentioned, it's hard for me to get away for more than a week at a time and get out there and paddle just because of life, right? To pull 10 days or 22 days. How long did it take you to do the Miz?
We did it in 10. So we planned it, or it was maybe even 9. We planned 14, and it was like 300 and something kilometers. But one day we actually made it 70K because of our sail.
Wow.
Yeah, something absurd. So we got into Moosonee like way sooner than we expected, but fortunately as well, because our food prep was pretty inadequate and we were running low. So yeah, it was a great trip, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost, unless you want to carry it, you almost need to somehow set up a food drop on something like that, right?
Right. Did you hear what Kai and Lure of the North are doing this winter?
Oh, that big expedition, snowshoeing, hiking, yeah.
My God.
That's right. Yeah, there's something we could talk about too. You went there and you did one of Kai and one of their courses there, right?
Yeah, I did the outdoor survival challenge thing. It was awesome. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, for those of you that are not familiar, Kylan Marone was on season 7. Is it season 7 of Alone?
What are they on now? Is it 8? I think it was last season. So
yeah, so I believe season 7, and she finished like in 3rd place. And her and her husband have a company called Lure of the North, and yeah, they do a lot of this trekking type of thing. And yeah, I'm kind of envious there. I wouldn't have minded taking that course myself. I met her husband Dave a couple times, right? I've never actually met Kylan, but
they live such a cool lifestyle. Like they're the real deal. Like they're so inspiring and awesome. Like just such sweet people too, and so knowledgeable. Yeah, it was a pleasure to be able to spend that much time with them.
Yeah.
And after seeing Kai on Alone, and like I started following her, and then she just like posted about this course, and I didn't really even know what it was when I signed up for it, but I'm just like, if she's doing a course, like I'm just gonna sign up. And so it was like set up like Alone, like so you bring like 10 items, a little bit of like leeway with some rations, but you just kind of like build a shelter and fish with primitive stuff, and it was awesome because I could just hang out with Kai for 7 days and just pick her brain. So like that's what I was there for. Like that was awesome. I could just, what's that? What's this? How do you do that? What's that? You know, so I could just pick up so much knowledge. And a lot of the videos I've done recently, like the survival-ish ones, are kind of based off of what we did, or Alone, which I like is obviously a huge inspiration for me. So
yeah, I believe when you went and did that course was about the same. I was up around just north of Espanola, Ontario myself on my big canoe trip, and I think that was right around the same time that you were there for the course. So
we should have met up.
Well, I was like, by the time the course was going on, I was up around Indian Lake, right at the northernmost point of our trip. So, but yeah, that you guys probably might have got hit by that one monsoon style storm, and not the one on your trip, this one here. But yeah, did you have big rain when you were up there for the course?
I don't think so. I can't recall. So. Oh, did we? Oh man, it's eluding me. I don't think so.
Yeah, because we had a whole week of crap, so that's what are you gonna do, right?
No,
so let's talk a little bit about this trip that you just did with John, without giving too much away, because it is posted. Everybody, when you're done the show tonight, go and watch Xander's video on this trip. I'll let you introduce it, but let's not give away too much because it's a must watch.
Yeah, well, me and John planned for 14 days up in St. Raphael Provincial Park, which is like so far away from Toronto. It took me 2 full days. I spent the better part of like 12 or 14 hours just getting to John's place. He let me crash at his place. It was so fun meeting John in real life, because before then, like just watching his content on YouTube, you kind of get to know the person a little bit, and you kind of have a sense for what they're like, because he's such a genuine person on YouTube. So then, we chatted a little bit on Instagram about, the trip and everything, but it wasn't until I actually like saw him in person at his door that, we actually talked for the first time. Maybe we chatted on the phone like very briefly, but it was mind blowing. I was like, oh my God, there you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have so much to say to you. Like I've just been chatting with you through text this whole time, or commenting on your videos. And then now it's like, I see you in person, so I can like we can chat, and we got along great. The whole time. So then after at John's place, 8-hour drive up to St. Raphael, which is like 6 hours north of Thunder Bay. And it's as far north as Moosonee, almost. So it's up there, Boreal Forest, like at its best.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 236 kilometers, pretty easy portage, just a bit of white water, awesome fishing, some pretty cool weather. That was my favorite part. I always love like inclement weather, like difficult situations like that. I always find that it's just fun and dramatic, and it just adds such a challenge, because it's all sun and shiny, and it's just kind of too pleasant, and you just don't care. It's like, oh, everything's good. But when it's like really crappy, it sucks. But then afterwards, it's like, wow, this is what it feels like to be normal. This is great.
Yeah, and you guys had all kinds of highs and lows on the trip. I won't say too much, but you may have seen some really cool animals.
Oh yeah.
You may have experienced some good and bad weather.
Oh yeah. That's the best part about these long trips. Like I know a lot of the people you have on here, like Barber, like, oh my God, you're having him on. I follow him. That guy lives in the woods. He comes home for his vacations,
Yeah.
Dude lives out there.
Yeah.
The stuff he does is amazing. That's cool that you're interviewing him. But usually, my trips are 1 to 3 days generally, because I can do a video a week and get that edited, and people can consume those much easier than they can longer trips. But doing these longer trips, you get a little bit of everything, and the longer you spend in the woods, the more likely you are for interesting situations to happen, like wildlife or weather. So. And just like learning things, like the longer you're out there, the more you're going to learn, and it's all like condensed into like a nice little week or 2 week trip. So yeah, no, it's awesome. It was thanks for John for inviting me out. I know he's out on another trip right now.
Him and I touched base just before today, because I was actually going to invite him to maybe come up and talk a bit about the trip too, right? But I guess he just left on another adventure, right? So.
Yeah, that guy's he's banging out the big trips after he quit his job. Like, it's so cool. Yeah, he's done like every provincial park by this point, and there's like
he's fortunate that because he lives up there. That's his area, right? So
yeah,
it took you 2 days to drive to. How long did it take him to get to that point?
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Like, it makes sense after being up there. Like, I've done north of Superior. I've driven north of Superior, I guess, just once before when I was younger. And I remembered how beautiful it was. And sure enough, going back, it was like, yeah, wow, this place it doesn't feel like Ontario, but Ontario is huge. So there's a lot to it. But it's beautiful up there.
So on a typical 3-day video shoot that you're doing, because you're in Toronto, like you got 2 hours on me. I live in Niagara, right? So it takes me 2 hours to get to around where you are, right? And then I got another 5, 6, 7 hours to go north, right? So where's a typical area that you would travel to do a 3-day, say your last one where you're with the rendezvous? How far was that?
Oh, that 3 hours between Parry Sound and Sudbury, I'd say.
Okay.
I try to keep my places kind of like discreet a little bit, like especially the Crownland stuff. Like anything else, like I'm free to share. Maybe I could share locations with you privately.
So you often visit Lake Nunya, right?
Lake what?
Lake Nunya? None of your business?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, that I frequent that one.
That's one of my favorite lakes, Lake Nunya. Go ahead, people, look it up.
Yeah, like I would love to share. The problem is like I'm really advertising these places, like the beauty of them, the fishing spots, and it's like if I want to go there in the future, it's it is a lot of work to find some of these places too, and I often luck out. Like on that last trip, I just found it on Google Earth and then made sure it was Crown land. And I had to go through some really interesting situations to get there. Like that, I thought that was going to be better trail. Turns out it was not. And it was late in the day, and I just didn't want to. I didn't have any backup plans, and so I kind of pushed it with my rendezvous on that ATV trail, which was like pretty hairy. Pretty hairy. Yeah, I didn't.
Some of the faces you made when you were bumping and grinding down that trail. Yeah.
People are like, you need a 4x4. I'm like, yeah, I know. But like, what do you like? You get out with what you have to start, and then you reiterate your equipment and you buy better stuff as you go. Like, you can't have it all when you first start unless you have a ton of money, which nobody, like, who has that, right?
Yeah. Well, either you got it or you don't, right? Yeah. I'm actually heading myself up around Naganash, which is between Sudbury and Perry Sound area. Right? So I'm heading up there next. That's
next weekend. North of Magnetawan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I got a big old map here of that place. I've been like scouting out some areas around there. So
yeah, and ironically enough, the map that I use for that area is actually a map that John produced a bunch of years ago.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I found it online, and it's got his name and credentials at the bottom. It's like,
that's so cool. Yeah, we used an Explore the Backcountry map, and I use the same for QE too.
Yeah,
good wildland. So it's cool to see the YouTubers who are like, they're not just creating content; they're creating like, maps for other people. That's such a awesome way to give back,
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, guys like Brad Jennings, John himself there. So I had somebody in the chat was asking what your favorite pieces of equipment are, and that kind of leads to, I wanted to talk to you about this this rather unique tent that you use on your trips now.
Oh yeah, so my favorite piece, maybe my sleeping bag, I guess. I don't know. I find like I've had a lot of rough nights without the right sleeping bag to really appreciate a good one, and I bought a really nice one last year. Has a lot of burn holes in it now. I have 2 sleeping bags back here, at a +5 and a -10. And on some of my winter camping trips, like I have to layer those 2 plus like a liner to get down to like -20 or -25, and that's like still uncomfortable. But it's like, I think with like your sleeping bag, you can kind of like survive. So I really like my sleeping bag because nothing worse than a pretty crappy night out,
Yeah, you gotta have that comfort when you're sleeping for sure.
Oh man, it's so important. Like otherwise the next day you're just fried, So.
And then like I mentioned your tent. What's with this tent? Who makes that? And
Z-Packs. So Z-Packs Duplex, they are a ultra lightweight manufacturer of like they use this material called Dyneema or
that's the same stuff they make rope out of, isn't it? Dyneema?
Yeah, I think Dyneema is in braided fishing line.
Right.
So it's like super durable, super lightweight. It can be a little loud with the rain, but it's not a problem. But I think it's the lightest tent on the market, and you're supposed to use your trekking poles to set it up. I'm gonna do a big like review on it in the future because they were nice enough to send one out after I like reached out to them. The benefits of being a YouTuber, oh my god, that blew my mind. It's like, hey, I love this tent. Like, I'm a YouTuber. Like, okay, which one do you like?
I'm a small YouTuber, and I'm always getting emails like probably 2-3 a week. Here, I'll send you a flashlight. Here, I'll send you this. I'll send you that to do a review. Right? It's like couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I got this friggin' what is it? Phoenix. They keep on asking me to do their flashlights, and they just keep sending. That's 18,000 lumens. I don't need it, but I'm like
that's more light than your car.
Pretty cool, right? I know. I have I say no to a lot of stuff, but like some things, I'm kind of like a child. I got like nunchucks in the back room and some other toys. I got like bow and arrow at the cottage. Like some things I just like kind of need because they're just fun. So like I can't help myself. But the tent, amazing tent. It's not exactly like a canoe tent, but it's like the best backpacking tent you can get. Compact, small, super lightweight. I love the design. I couldn't think of a better design than it. It's probably not the best canoe tent though. But I'm not sure what the biggest difference is, but it's meant to be set up with trekking poles, which I haven't used yet because I haven't done any backpacking since I've gotten it, just mostly canoeing. But yeah, great tent.
That's cool. So what typically when you go on a trip, we'll just talk about a normal trip. Are you really weight conscious with the gear that you bring, or are you just like...
No, Like if you see some of my videos, I'm bringing out like weird foods, and like a lot of those are full of water. So it depends on the trip, but no. But the more I do this, the more I'm trying to become lighter and lighter weight with my gear. Like the more lightweight I can go with my gear, the more batteries I can bring, the more camera equipment I can bring. I'm actually getting a second. I have 2 cameras, but I'm gonna buy a second big body camera.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like the better my content can be, the lighter my gear is, because then I can just add more to filming and that type of stuff. So I think ultimately, yeah, that's the best way to go, is like lighter and lighter weight if possible. Even on canoeing, I know like canoeing is not compared to like backpacking in the same sense. Like you can bring more canoeing, but you know, if you're saving weight on like a big portage trip, like portages can be pretty brutal. And
Yeah.
Depends on the trip, I guess. But I think lighter weight is beneficial. So
I hear you. Well, question here from Weekly Helena asking, which is better, a hammock or a tent? I'm a hammock sleep. Oh, apart from spooning with Molly, just FYI, Molly is my Springer Spaniel who's sitting right below me. Hope she doesn't fart or anything like that. But I'm a hammock camper, and I kind of prefer the hammock myself, because my back isn't sore in the morning when I wake up. And even with Molly by my side, there's plenty of room in my Hennessy. So how about your preference? Have you ever tried a hammock?
I tried John's hammock for like, I don't know, a few minutes, just laid in it. It's pretty cool. They had the hammock drummer. Yeah. That was awesome. That was pretty cool. And like the places you can set it up, awesome. Like you could do a lot more like bushy tent setups with that thing, because you can just go find some wooded area as long as the trees are the right distance apart. But if you're like camping, like we were on this trip, actually, I guess we were limited to where we could camp on this trip quite a bit because of my tent. We just, on like rainy days, we didn't want to go to backcountry sites or like find our own sites, because we need to find a clear non-wet spot for me. So that's limited. I don't have enough experience with it, but tents for now. But I'm definitely open to trying the hammock camping.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The hammock, the one that John uses, is a rather unique style of hammock. I've never tried it. It looks weird, but he boasts that it's like the most comfortable thing in the world. I always say the same thing about my regular hammock too, right? So
yeah, it's pretty cool. I brought like this little tiny hammock. It's called like a hummingbird hammock. My little brother bought it for me for Christmas a few years ago. It packs really small, and I had it like set up on like 2 days of this last trip. Mm-hmm. And I haven't brought it out on any trips, and it was just so nice to just like lay in it and read. I don't know if I could sleep in it, but I had a little nap and it was fantastic.
Really?
I'm open to it.
You left for John, you left him a little present in there too, didn't you?
Oh,
you
yeah.
Say what, but
yeah, it was really relaxing in there. So, you you relax, and
I kind of laughed my butt off there in that scene.
Yeah, I like that. There. Oh man, we had such a good time together. Like I kind of sum it up at the end. Like you don't know what it's going to be like when you don't spend time. Like you've never met the person. You go on a big trip, and we had no conflict. There was zero conflict between John and myself. We just laughed and had such a good time. And there's so much good banter off camera. Like, how do you capture that, right? And there's a little bit of it in the video, but doesn't really show like all that fun.
And sometimes you don't want to, right? You want to enjoy the aspect of the trip too. You don't always want to have a camera in your face, or whoever you're canoeing with into their face. Mind you, when it's another YouTuber, it's kind of a different story, because they maybe come to expect it, But there's those times when you just don't want to have the camera rolling, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. So that actually brings up two really good points. First is like, it's really important for me to not let the filming take away from the experience. That's something I said to myself like a while ago. I don't want it to interfere with the experience itself.
Right.
Nowadays, like, man, it just adds. It's always added for me, but like for some people, they're not used to it as much, and might not care for it as much, or maybe it takes away from their experience. So like, I'm very careful with that when I'm camping with non-filming people, and a lot of people don't mind it at all. And in the past, maybe like some people would care, but it's very important that it doesn't take away from the experience itself. The other thing is like, this is my first time camping with somebody who also films. So it was so great being able to share that with John, because, we see like something pretty. We have this desire or this like impulsiveness to film it.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, wow, pretty sunset. You know, I got to get this on camera. And it's like, it doesn't take away at all. It's like you can enjoy it, but you can also relive it and you can share it, which is like, oh, it's the best. I love being able to share it with people. And then hearing from people saying like, oh my God, this video is like it made my day, you know, and that makes my day. So.
Sure. And you and John did a little bit of video share too, obviously back and forth, because there were scenes in the video where they were obviously shot from John's canoe.
Yeah. He filmed all the wildlife, and like my camera just did not capture it as well as his. Mine only goes to like 100 millimeters.
Right.
His went to 600 millimeters. So we got some really good footage of the wildlife. There's one of me catching this really big pike, which didn't capture well on my screen. That was a really funny moment, but it was like the footage we got was like, you know, what do you do, right? It's sometimes you like lose a little bit of footage and you just got to move on. But you know, you're always happy when you get at least a little bit of it. So that is fun, yeah. So and then I shared with him the Northern Lights and so a few other things that you'll see in his video. But just a little bit.
You got to watch it, people. You got to watch it to get all the details. Just going to throw a couple of comments up here. We got Bowen. Hopefully I'm saying that's right. He's saying your channel is amazing. Your cooking skills are legit good. Coming from a professional chef, keep up the amazing stuff.
Thanks, Bojan. Is it Bojan? Bohan. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. I wouldn't say my cooking skills are amazing. I mean, a lot of people are like, you burnt the food, you burnt the bacon. That's like my comments in my older videos. Yeah, I try, you know, I enjoy it too. It's fun.
One tip I heard from a chef one time was if you happen to burn the food and the people notice it, you just tell them, say, oh, it's supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
Never give it away that you burn it, right? No, it's supposed to be like that. It's charred. It's charred.
There you go.
Yeah. What video was that there? You went out there and you made these huge monster smash burgers.
Oh, dude, that was just like.
And you scoffed them all down.
Yeah, that was absurd. I did not. One was more than enough, and then I had two, and then like your ego kicks in. It's like, I ain't gonna let this down. You know, I'm gonna like I can't. I don't want to cheat the camera. Like I don't want to like create. I don't want to lie. Like my content is, I know some YouTubers, like you'll watch like some YouTubers, like they don't like stay out overnight or like they might, they fake things in their videos. Not like anybody I know, but I've seen it. But I don't want to do that, you know? So, and then my ego kicked in and obviously I ate those two massive hamburgers.
I don't know how you did it. My dog would have been first in line for one of them burgers. So yeah. And you, in your videos, it's obvious and you can really tell that you do a lot of learning while you're out there. You know, like do you intentionally go out there trying to learn a skill, or do you practice a skill before you go out, type of thing?
I think I learn a lot when I'm out there. Yeah, I definitely like, and I'll get comments too, just like, why'd you do it that way? And it's like, well, I just didn't know any better. You know, this is really about my journey. I think that a lot of people might think that, you know, somebody in my position now that I have however many subscribers I have.
180,000, sir.
Yeah. Woo. That I should know everything. I think I've heard Joe Robinet talk about that too. It's like, he's just a guy that likes to film himself and he doesn't know everything sometimes. So it's like, yeah, I'm learning all the time. And that's kind of part of my journey. Like because I'm filming and stuff, I'm like able to get out. Because I'm a YouTuber, I'm able to get out more and actually like learn out there in the field. And then that's also kind of part of the content. I don't want to, and I very intentionally like try not to say anything that like this is the way, unless I'm correct on it. You know, so there's a lot of mistakes that I make, and I might do things that might not be correct, but I'm not like saying like this is how you do it. It's like this is just what I'm doing, and I hope that it's right. If people call me out on it, and I'm wrong, like please, like I just like my intention is to like learn as much as possible and be the best. Like I don't need to be the best of the best, but like I want to be the best that I can. And yeah, that's really it.
Yeah. Do you use the 2-camera setup often when you're doing a shot?
No, just one. Yeah.
Because I noticed in your most recent video there, you had a lot of like from behind and then double.
I was just playing around with that, and it worked. I used that camera arm on a few trips with my smaller camera, but no, I find the big tripod with the big camera in front works pretty well, and if that's there, like the small camera up back, like it kind of works. It made for some interesting shots. I find like a lot of videos, and that's why I do like a lot of jump cuts too, just to keep like the pace. So like instead of doing jump cuts, it's like switching between the two looks really good. I don't know. I'm just playing around. I didn't know how it was going to turn out until like I got home, and I was like, oh, okay, that works.
Sure. Yeah. And I've seen in the comments here, a couple of people have been asking what editing programs you were using to edit your videos.
I use Premiere. I use the Adobe suite, and I use Photoshop. I use Lightroom, and I use Premiere.
Cool.
Yeah. I hear Resolve is super good. If you're looking for a free program, I would suggest that. But if you are into it, like, man, just go with Adobe Suite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I broke down and I bought Filmora because I was using iMovie for the longest time, and I find Filmora is the closest in style. It's got a lot more features, but closest in style to iMovie. So, but you know what? With any editing software that you're using, it's knowing how to use it, right? It's not so much the program is learning all the tricks that it has to offer, right? So,
100%, yeah. Like I've been able to speed up I'm impressed that I actually got this video out in a week. I didn't even grind it out as hard as I thought I was going to have to. I thought this wasn't going to be done for like another week, based on like older videos. And like every once in a while, I like watch another tutorial, learn another hotkey, and eventually over time, you just accumulate more and more of those like little shortcuts. And obviously from just doing it all the time, I'm gaining more and more experience, and it's getting faster. But I think eventually, like I do want to put that, like I want to give this to somebody else, because I did spend a week editing this video. It would be nice to be able to do other things. I enjoy editing, but it'd be nice to do another trip, maybe like look for other opportunities.
Instead of editing, right?
Yeah.
I'll have to introduce you to Chris Prouse.
Yeah, totally.
She's been doing a lot for Joe Robinette lately, so I'm sure, she's an excellent editor as well. So
cool.
Yeah,
she's really good.
Somebody also asked now, okay, so how long does it take you to edit a video? You mentioned that this trip that you did with John, you had terabytes of information, and you did it in a week. Like how do you sort through that much material? How long does it take you to
quickly? I just like play the footage, scan, see if I just go through everything.
Yeah.
I just start from the beginning, just go to the end. Like this one, I like cut out. Oh man. Like I took out everything from the drive up. I'm just like, what's the point? This like, there's no point. Boom, cut it out. Nobody cares. Starting the trip. Like that's the bread and butter. Like nobody needs to hear about my journey up. Or actually I filmed all myself doing all the food prep too. I did all the dehydration. I filmed all of that. That's a few 100 gigabytes. And anyways, just starting the trip. And just from the beginning to the end, just like go through each clip. I just capture the moments that work, and then I just have them all out on the timeline. And then I just like start cutting stuff. Like, just, nope, don't need that. That's a good moment. This and then I man, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to really.
I'm taking notes right now.
Yeah.
and so are a bunch of other people, I'm sure, in the stream here tonight.
Maybe I could do like a live stream or something. Yeah, but I was like, so I posted, did you see me catch that fish and lose the fish in the video?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So I took that clip and I put it on TikTok. It has like 300,000 views, which is hilarious in the day.
Oh, kidding.
So that's my first success on TikTok, which was wild. So I actually edited my first winter camping trip this year, which I just built like a basic shelter, and I condensed that to 25 minutes. Anyways, I was looking over that timeline, and it's just so basic compared to what I'm doing now. So, seeing that like 9-month, 10-month difference between the editing is like, it's awesome. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Cal J wants to know, will John be posting his own version of your trip?
Oh yeah, definitely he will be. I wish he was able to get his out in time before going up. I think he said he's going to post in like 2 weeks maybe, because he's going on like a long trip, like 7 to 10 days, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then Yeah, hopefully in 2 weeks. I can't wait to see his perspective.
Sure.
Definitely, like, it'd be pretty cool to see.
I mentioned that last week with the Baird Boys, right? And other YouTubers that I've had on the show too, where you get these collaborations going on.
Yeah.
And I love watching the aspect, like, watching your video, your take on the video versus his take, and, where the crossover points, where you can say, oh, I seen that in Xander's video. Now this is John's perspective of it or something, right? It's really neat to see that type of thing.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see John's his perspective on the trip, right? Because it's totally different brain, same experience.
Yeah. And he's been knocking out a couple of collabs lately too. He just did a trip with Joe Robinette not long ago too. And anybody out there that you'd really like to do another collaboration video with? Let's put it on record here.
Oh, the Baird brothers.
Yeah,
let's go on a big old wilderness trip. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love to do some whitewater canoeing with them. The Northern Scavengers, Alex, I just talked with him.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of chatting about a trip. Any of the whitewater guys, like, oh man, I would love to get out and do some paddling with you.
Yeah, there you go, boys. If you're watching, and if not, I'll make sure I get word over to them there too.
Or Les, if you're listening,
Les Stroud. Yeah, he's all the way down in Arkansas or something. though. That'd be a hard trip right now with the borders being closed. So. Yeah. Okay. You know what? We're at 8 o'clock. I'm going to get my swag giveaway out of the way. If you need to take a break, I need to get some apologies on out here as well due to the quality of my video, which really is pissing me off right now. So yeah, I'm going to drop you to the green room. I'm going to do the swag giveaway. We'll get you back up and we'll get a few people on here to ask questions. All good? Did you catch that, Xander?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought you were talking.
Okay.
I started reading the chat. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, I'll see you back in a minute.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Geez, I really do apologize about my video quality. This is really irking me. And this is after investing in a new internet service provider. So I don't know what's going on. I've been switching between Wi-Fi, 2 different Wi-Fis and a hardwired system, and they are all being crap right now. And I've even dropped my video resolution. So I really apologize for this, and it makes nobody more angry than me because I want to look good in front of the guests that I have on the show, right? Anyways, I'm going to put the invitation up. If anybody would like to come up and ask Xander a question here after the swag giveaway, feel free to do so. Here is the link that is going in right now. And all I ask is that if you do join on panel, all you need to do is please shut off your YouTube volume so that we do not get feedback. Nothing worse than feedback and echo and stuff like that. Just go by the video sound that comes through on the StreamYard software. It's very simple to set up. All you need to do is click the link, set up your camera and microphone, and we'll get you in the green room in the bottom. And then just wait your turn down there while I pop a few people up. With that being said, while you guys try to get yourselves in, let's get on with our swag giveaway, which is sponsored by our good friends over at Algonquin Outfitters. Alrighty, thanks to our friends over at Algonquin Outfitters. You know what? They are celebrating their 60th anniversary. They have a great contest going on right now that you'll want to be a part of. Get down there in the description below. You'll find a link to their contest page. It's it's actually a fun contest. You get to learn a little bit about Algonquin Outfitters and their 60-year history. All the answers to their questions are on their website. Great way, like I say, to learn a little bit more about them. Tonight's swag giveaway is brought to you by them, obviously, and I'll let you know what we have on slate. We have a Canoehound Adventures prize pack, which is going to be like all kinds of Canoehound Adventure decals. We got our new Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show iron-on patch. It's iron-on. You can put that onto any shirt or jacket or backpack. And, of course, our regular iron-on patches. And then our friends over at Algonquin Outfitters have a couple of vouchers for you and a bunch of stickers and things like that that you can use for free day rentals of anything that they rent at any of their locations. So a few great things. All you need to do is answer the question that I'm going to put up here on screen here. And let me click a couple buttons here. Sorry for the delay. You have until Saturday at 11 p.m. If you could email your answer to coasprize@gmail.com. That's Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show, prize@gmail.com. You'll have until Saturday. And tonight's question is, Xander just completed a 10-day canoe trip with what popular YouTuber? And we've mentioned it a whole bunch of times, and it might even get mentioned a couple more times throughout the remainder of the show tonight. But send me the answer to that. You'll have until Saturday to get that on. I will leave this going across the screen. I see nobody has joined the chat in the bottom right now. So I will get that on in the chat once again. Please come on up, ask Xander a question. I'm sure he would love to hear from people and see what you got on your mind. In the meantime, let's get Xander back up here and we'll continue on with the show. Hey, man, look at you stretching and relaxing over there.
Hello.
A lot of pressure being on this show, eh?
Yeah, man, stressed out.
Well, usually we got people that pop into the basement. They're not that shy, and a couple will come drifting in here, I'm sure, in a couple of minutes. But
cool.
So what's on the radar for Xander? What type of things do you want to get into here in the future?
Short term, I think my next trip, I'm looking at Killarney just for like a quick, like pretty fall colors trip. Hopefully next week we'll see. I've had my head down editing this video for the last few days, so right. I sometimes I just have blinders on and I'm just like single focused, which is kind of bad because I like don't prep enough for the future. But yeah, Killarney. I want to do a big winter camping trip, maybe like 5 to 10 days, like solo. I think that'd be pretty fun. Definitely, like that's a short-term thing. So I'm looking at van conversions. I did a van trip like 4 or 5 years ago, like in my GMC Safari, and we did like across the USA, and that was awesome. And I've been like thinking about doing the whole van thing for a long time. And in one of my videos, you know, the long-term, short and long-term goals for my channel are canoe and camping videos in Ontario, build a camper van, travel North America, build a Unimog camper, travel the world, buy a sailboat, sail the world, and then build a spaceship and explore the universe.
In that order?
Yeah, I mean, it's natural progression, right? So.
Those are some great ambitions, man. I hope you succeed with them. Even the space travel, that would be cool. That would be cool. That would make one hell of a video, but it's got to be longer than an hour long. So yeah.
For sure.
We do have somebody in the basement, somebody that's been on quite often asking questions. This is our good friend from YouTube channel, Marty Morissette. Marty Morissette, how you doing, Marty?
Hey, good, man. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Like you could almost be related or something.
I don't know. Maybe the blonde hair gives it away.
Yeah. So what do you got for us, Marty?
Man, Xander, first off, I love your channel. I've watched you grow from the beginning, and you're kicking ass at it. So well done. But you said something that really intrigued me earlier. You said that your inspiration comes a lot more from outside of the niche of the outdoor world, and I'm intrigued to know who are your big YouTubers that you love, you like their content style that you like to bring to your channel.
Oh man, it changes all the time. Like like I have, if you go to my channel, like you can see everybody that I'm subscribed to. I'm subscribed to stuff from like years and years ago too. So there's even like video game stuff on there, which I'm not interested in anymore. But like Peter McKinnon, he's definitely a name. Matty Boja, like the filming photography guys.
Yeah,
a lot of
Matty.
Toronto, which is really cool.
Yeah, you could probably connect with Peter and Matty. They're right in your backyard.
Yeah, I was gonna comment on Matty's video from yesterday. I'm like, dude, like I go to all those spots when I'm in the city, but I chickened out because I'm a little nervous. You know,
you can, I think Matty has you can contact his manager from his website instead of that's the best way to get in touch with them.
Oh, cool. And man, Mr. Beast, he's killing it. I listened to a podcast on him with like something in Samir, Colin and Samir. Have you ever heard of that?
No,
podcast?
not Colin.
No? Okay. They just talk about like content, online content, and they interviewed Mr. Beast, and it was fascinating. It was just fascinating to hear his like his take on creating content, and he just wants to create the best content ever. and taking little inspirations like that. It's like, that's what I want to do. Essentially, I just want to create the best videos, most entertaining videos, most informative videos as possible.
His philosophy is pretty sweet, man. Like the first like 10 grand he made, he gave it to a homeless person on the street. Like the stuff that he's done, Mr. Beast, over the years, it's pretty fascinating.
It is pretty cool. Like you got to give credit to him, you know. So
what's his subscribership like? That guy, he's
60 million.
Yeah,
he's above Dude Perfect. Yeah,
I wonder how so many people can. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, there's some amazing names out there, and yeah.
And none that you necessarily listen to like religiously, or?
Ooh, yeah, I don't know. Let me go to my YouTube.
Somebody actually asked a question earlier about Dick Prenicky and something. So whoever that was, if you put that question back on screen again, I'd love to, or back in the chat, I'd love to pop it up on screen.
Oh man, I'm all over the place when it comes to YouTube content. Like I got 300 subscriptions or something, 400. I've been watching YouTube since like 2009. So I went on Social Blade, and I was looking up like Joe Robinet and myself. I signed up for YouTube 3 days before Joe Robinet did.
Is that right?
Back in 2007 or 2009 or something. Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
What's the expected subscriber count in the next year on Social Blade? I haven't looked.
I don't know. Who knows? Well, I guess I could just look, but
no, it's fine. It's just funny.
my goal was to hit 100,000 by the end of the year, and my goal was to hit 10,000. Yeah, doing well, man.
Yeah, you're killing it for that.
You have the plaque close by.
Yeah,
you showed it in your YouTube video, or not YouTube, Instagram video, I think.
There you go. That's the silver button right there.
There it is. Here, let's put that full screen. That's deserving of a full screen shot. What's it say? Presented to Xander Budnick on passing 100,000 subscribers. Very cool. Next one is 1 million, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. That's the gold button, I think.
Yeah,
the gold button is 1 million. And hey, you mentioned earlier about white water. This summer, I went down the Noir River for one of the three sisters that lead into the Ottawa.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I did the Noir River, 150 clicks. We're planning to go down the Coulanges next year. It's one of the three sisters out there, the Dumoine, Coulanges, the Noir. You should look them up. They're pretty fun out there.
I'll look that up. That's awesome. So, Marty, do you create content? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check out some of your stuff.
Yeah, under
just
the YouTube
very
channel,
small.
Marty Morissette, right?
Oh, that's
it's just my name.
You got to start somewhere, right?
You got to start some. Well, I mean, you got me beat like fucking by 1,000 in a way shorter, but that's whatever. You nailed it, man. Like it's like I remember watching your first video. It was an hour-long video, and I was like, I didn't blink for an hour. Like your shortcuts, like every 3 seconds. Yeah. I was like, holy cow, that is engaging. And that, to me, that was super, super inspiring, by the way.
Cool, man. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah.
You're offering inspiration to people too, Xander. Like I say, that's one thing that captivates me to your videos.
Sweet.
It's funny because when you start making content, when you start looking at content after, like you look at it in such a different way, right? Like every move that John makes, that Xander makes, or anybody I watch will make, I'm like, oh, that was nice, or that angle shot was sweet. Like where before you never thought of it.
Yeah.
So like every time I watch someone new, it's like, what can I learn that I appreciated that kept me engaged, right? And Absolutely. You try to apply that. Yeah.
Always looking behind the scenes. I feel like I've always done that since like I was younger, and I'm sure lots of other people did it too. Is like go behind the cameras, like how they film that, how they do that, like. And then like thinking about their edits as well. It's like
how much of your storyline do you know going into to a trip? You know what I mean? Like, do you craft your story as you're in it? And not that you craft it in a sense that you fake anything. It's just like, sometimes I like to go into a trip and have like a story I want to tell, and I use the trip to move.
Right.
But how do you go about it?
my expectations for the trip, I just like have like a brief beginning, like these are my expectations, this is what's going to happen, and then like as it evolves, I kind of try to relate, like just talk about it, and then afterwards it's like how I've grown. It's a pretty simple structure. It's like, it's like what's going to happen, or like what do you expect, the actual story, like
the plan,
like stuff that actually happening, and then how you've grown as a person. I don't know, man. Like I'm really like I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of there's a bit of winging it to it, but I definitely try to talk about like what I expect, and it's usually just like a few simple things. It's like the weather, the fishing or the wildlife that we can anticipate. Me and John going out for the first, like in this last one is like, what were my fears? My fears were the weather. What was I looking forward to? The fishing and the wildlife. And I was also afraid of like maybe me and John didn't get along, or also being in the boreal forest. I thought it might be like not for me, or like kind of boring. So like talking about, and then like I'm always thinking about it too. And then I just like let it come out from a place of like, actually like feeling it. I find it's easier to like speak from the heart than to try to just I find my outros are a lot easier than my intros. My intros are like I'm narrating something and I'm like, this is what it's going to be like, and my voice is also all nasally too, usually at the beginning, because I'm like, by the end I'm like, hey, what's up, I've been in the woods for 14 days. So
that's so funny.
Xander, how critical are you towards your own work?
What do you mean?
Does it like watching your own videos? Does it make you feel odd or anything like that? Like, are you confident with your video production?
Yeah, nowadays, absolutely.
Yeah. Because you mentioned you dropped off the radar there for quite a while, and then and you pondered getting back in, but you didn't, and then all of a sudden you made the leap again, right?
I've been wanting to do this for years, like years, and this has always been the plan. And I filmed stuff when I was younger, and I would like kind of create it, and then no, this is not good enough. This is crappy. I'm not good enough. I'm not like them. And then I'd put it down. I have so many projects that are half done. So many little adventures over the years that are half done, or I try too hard to make them perfect, and they just like waste my time. I've definitely gained a lot of confidence, like self-confidence over the years. And you can kind of see my evolution from this year. Like my first video this year, I'm not even talking. It's a silent video. And then my second one, I'm talking a little bit more. Third one, even more. And now I don't shut up. Like it's like literally beautiful scenes and I'm like talking over them.
Yeah.
So like it might be too much, but I can look at myself pretty critically. And I'll be honest, like, so I've been modeling for like 10 or 11 years, and it was heartbreaking at times, like being judged and being compared to other people and whatever. It definitely plays like a impact, like it can hurt at times, but that also kind of hardened me, and it allowed me to like look at myself like subjectively, and I can view videos of myself and like, oh, that's great, that's not, this is like, and detach myself from it. Like it's not me, it's like I'm a viewer, kind of just like editing content for
cool.
If that makes sense.
We got another participant in the basement there. Be with you in a second. I do want to pop a question up here, because you had mentioned that you wouldn't mind doing a collaboration with the Baird Boys, right? And Scott out and about is asking if he's going to do a whitewater with the Bairds. Do we need to know if he bungles or
not? Please ask. I heard you guys chatting about bungling. I didn't even know that word until you guys were chatting about it. That's hilarious, by the way. I mean, from time to time, I mean, with equipment, like the more equipment you have, the more easy it is to bungle. And I tend to have quite a few cameras going. And I think anybody that brings cameras out is going to bungle a little bit, right? Putting new SD cards, batteries, getting the shot. I can bungle.
Cool. Two more, and then we'll bring up our next guest. And Marty, if you want to stick around in the green room after, you're more than welcome.
Sounds good, man.
Just like normal. I'll pop up these two questions, and then we'll get our next participant up here. Mark's asking, don't know if this has been asked, but is there a Cooking with Xander book in the works?
Oh man, I haven't even thought of that.
Because you've been you cook some pretty good looking things there in the video that you posted today here.
There's, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the food prep that I did?
Yeah.
I was winging it, man. Like,
yeah.
So that was that I'm happy that worked out. Because like usually you would cook everything together and then dehydrate it. I just dehydrated everything separately and kind of
handful of this and handful of that.
Yeah. And it worked out pretty well. I mean, everything tastes great when you're in the bush.
That's true.
So
yeah.
maybe it wasn't good.
And then here we got Gord's asking, ever laugh at your own content once you go back and watch it?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. I like sometimes when I'm editing, I feel good. I'm like, yes, this is the moment, you know. And there's some parts that really make me laugh. Like I was laughing at like me catching that fish and like trying to hold the fish and it goes in the water. Like
that was a nice one that you lost there. Yeah.
I know. Like I could have held on to it more, but I didn't want to hurt it, right? So I kind of let it do its thing, and the moment's better than me even holding it. So it's like it worked pretty well. So
yeah, when you're on a trip with John, he takes a lot of care with his fish, right? And it makes you kind of feel obligated to do the same thing, obviously, right?
I appreciated that. Like I get a lot of comments about my fishing, and I know I always think I'm always doing the best that I can to do the right thing. And like when I started fishing last year, and then this year I put out some videos, and I've been learning along the way. You know, people in Europe fish way differently than we do. Some people think catch and release is cruel, which I can agree with in a lot of ways. So going out with somebody like John, like this is one of the reasons why I was like really nice to go out with somebody like that. He's developed this whole like ethics behind his fishing, and they're great. They're rooted in like conscientiousness, and like they come from a good place. So being with him and experiencing it, like I hooked a fish, like I got him in the mouth and the other hook got him in the eye. First fish I caught, you know, and I was thinking like I'm probably going barbless by the end of this trip. And, you know, right away it happens. And it was just such a crappy situation. It like the hooks got caught in the nets, and it was this whole ordeal. I cut it really, really short because it lagged the whole video quite a bit. So I told the story, like it was very shortly cut. I bring it up later. But yeah, no, John's got a great philosophy, and being with somebody like that, it's nice to have rub off on, because it makes the fishing more enjoyable as well. You know, you're not causing harm to them, and it's more pleasant.
I agree. Sure. Yeah, John's reverence towards the fish is pretty cool. The way he does it. I don't fish a whole lot personally, or at all, because I don't eat a whole lot of fish. So it's like if I'm not going to eat, I don't even fish it.
Yeah. It's made me look at it a little differently too. You know, I feel a little more guilt when I'm harvesting a fish and stuff like that. But
yeah,
you know, yeah. Okay, so Marty, I'm going to drop you down, and we're going to get our next guest up. If anybody wants to get into the
cheers, Xander. See you later.
Cheers, Marty. Hey, great meeting you. Nice talking to you. I subscribe. I'll check you out.
Oh, thanks, man.
No problem, bro.
All righty. And then our next person, let's see here. You know what? I'm going to forego the intro, I think. Mr. Kevin Callan, how you doing, buddy?
Kevin Callan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Well, I got two really important questions for you. One is very important. We'll start with the first one. So you were a male model before you became a YouTube celebrity.
Yes.
So what underwear did you model for? That's funny. Oh my God. You know that? That's funny. My mother just called.
I thought that was my wife's phone ring. That's my wife's phone ring.
Oh my God.
I have not. Well, maybe I have. I don't know. If it's out there, I don't want to see it.
Okay. No. And did you throw that at Jonathan while you're on trip with him? When he caught more fish, did you actually go to him and say, "Yeah, but were you a male model? I don't think you were."
No, definitely. The fact that I'm a male model, I try to. You know, it's just a job. I fit the proportions, and it's just been kind of part of my life for a while. It's nothing more than that, you know. It's like nothing to brag about. It's really yeah, I know you're kidding.
I actually canoe trip with some guys that actually that's their job, and it's actually a very serious job, to be quite honest. They're very serious about it. So,
yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. You know, like a lot of opportunities come from it. Like I said, I traveled to China and Japan, and I lived there total like about 2 years. So great opportunities come from it. The money can be good when there's work. For me, I don't work all the time. I work a couple times a month. So it's not full time. But I'm definitely very grateful to be able to have that opportunity. And yeah,
Does that help you to be in front of the camera or not?
I think I've definitely grown a little bit more comfortable to be in front of the camera for sure. But you know, I that was going through a lot of insecurity though. Like to start, maybe I was more comfortable, but then I became very insecure as a model. Definitely there was years where I was quite self-conscious and didn't think I fit like in front of the camera. And I thought that, you know, you develop like insecurities around it, and that's very common. And I broke through that, fortunately. And I actually grew a strong sense of self as a result and a lot of confidence. But I did go through a lot of that, you know, discomfort, that, that insecurity, like a lot of it for sure. It's a very common thing in the industry.
Do you still model, Xander? Or
yes, actually, I got a job tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow. So
cool.
I don't know what it's for. But
well, we better not keep you up too late tonight. Otherwise, you have bags under your eyes or something.
I had 2 coffees, man. I'm wired. We're like...
No, Dennis, if he's doing underwear models, it doesn't matter about the bags under his eyes. Okay, that's the same.
This is true. This is true. Kevin, have you ever modeled your underwear?
Yes, yours. Oh. Yeah, you mailed me underwear and I modeled it, and that probably maybe was a mistake.
Yeah.
It's a deep story there, Xander.
It was, yeah.
Kevin, nice meeting you, by the way. I have your top 60 canoe routes in Ontario book. I'm going to get the last. John was recommending the Lost Canoe Routes book. And
yeah, you know, it's funny. That whole book. I got a contact from the publisher a few weeks ago and said they have to redo that. What's the big deal about this book? Because that book, actually, I had to push the publishers to put that book out because who would buy this? I go, I don't really care who buys this. It was kind of a cool story. But anyway, back to you, underwear model. So I watch your shows a lot. Like I love your stuff, and I love the visual, right? And I love your humor too. The humor is fantastic. And also that whole look at the camera and you say something that you find funny, and all of a sudden people are like, did he just say that?
Oh, are you talking about this last one?
I saw that one. That was
God, that's so funny. Okay.
That was like, he got away with that one. Okay, so
I showed that to a few people first.
I wasn't going to bring that
thought
up.
It was funny, so I kept it.
Ladies, watch the video.
Yeah. Okay, we'll continue on with that. But what's really cool is the visual things you get. Like you're really good at visual. And at the one shot where you're under the tarp and the lightning storm behind you,
right?
It's an older video, but it's really good. What's the one scene that you haven't got yet? What's the one that you were like, I want this on camera and I haven't got it yet, and you're working on it?
Animal attack. Yeah, definitely. Big bear in the night. Yeah, I have everything ready. I got my bear spray, you know, headlamp around my neck, got my GoPro ready. You know, I got my bear spray right there. I'm kidding, but I'm kind of kidding. It'd be nice to have like animal encounters are so exciting. Weather's so exciting, you know, so anything like that. It's scary, but it's exciting. So things like that for sure. You know, they're gems. Like animal encounters, crazy weather. You don't even have to have a good footage of it. It's naturally amazing. You know, the best like routine or skit or whatever you can think of. You know, you can say the best story ever, but like it's not the same as, you know, having that actual footage or being in it and living it, right? Or like living something like that. So.
Have you ever had an encounter with or something that's really scared the
moose? If you saw a video this year, I was canoeing up this really small, like a creek, it's called a river on the map, going over these log jams, and I hear this. I can't make the noise, but it was like a baby moose is like right there. Like this is beginning of April. Anyways, I looked it up. Like moose were just like giving birth to these like calves, and this thing was just like fresh out, and it's crawling up on the shore trying to get out, and I'm stuck between like the moose, like the baby moose on the shore, and this log jam I just came over, and mom was in the woods just like grunting at me. So that one put me on edge. That was it's a good video. If you
not sure I seen. Oh, you actually got footage of that.
Yeah, the baby moose looks like an alien. The moose calf it's like incredible. What an amazing animal. But yeah, the mama, you can't see the mama, but it's in the woods grunting, and like they're big, man. Those things are scary.
Yeah,
really scary creature. Those things scare me more than anything else in the woods. That's for sure.
They are a dangerous animal for sure.
Yeah.
Of your next trips that you want to video, you want to do river, you want to do rapids. What's the one river that's on your hit list?
Missinabbi's always been like to do a big trip. I'm looking at the Mattawa and the Mississauga as well, but like I don't know. Yeah, it's all kind of up in the air at this point. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more rivers this year. Trying to get a dry suit. That's like next thing on my list. But I'm open to suggestions. To be honest, I'm always looking for suggestions, and I'm sure you're the guy to ask, I guess.
Well, no, I'm just curious. Actually, I actually thought it was really cool that you did the sturgeon, Chinnakuchi sturgeon loop. It was
from your book
video too. But I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he did this. I sat down and watched the whole. I was so excited because that's one of my favorite trips.
I need to apologize. I mispronounced your last name in the video. I said Kevin Callahan.
Callahan.
I know. I just I don't even know how I didn't even catch that because I know your last name and anyways.
Actually, just so you know, I didn't even know that. I watched the whole video and I didn't notice that.
Okay, well,
but now I do.
So, forget everything I just said then.
Yeah. So you bastard.
Yeah.
Callahan. My God.
It's like brain fart. I do that all the time, and
I used to watch your videos, but now I'm not going to anymore. Thank you very much.
Unsubscribe.
I'll let you go get someone else up here. But so the thumbnail of Jonathan's Lost Lakes video when it comes up, is the thumbnail you and him with Calvin Klein underwear on?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, great. All right, yeah. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Awesome.
Hey, great meeting you and talking to you.
Okay, no, you do good, great stuff. I love your stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Coming from you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it, buddy. See you in the green room. Yeah. Kevin's always a treat. Eh? He's always a great treat to have on the show here for sure.
He's a good guy.
We do have another person in the basin I'm going to bring up here in one moment, but I had to put this one question up from Cal J saying, make Xander show us how to become the fish to catch.
No, oh God.
You gotta watch the video for that.
Yeah, that's like in the moment thing. That's like when I'm in the woods alone, right? Like it's so much easier. That's the easiest way to YouTube was when you're alone in the woods. I tried to do one of my intro skits in front of these people once, and like they were all supportive. Like they're having a few beers, and like it was like a family, and they're super nice. And I was like, I had to put in, and I wanted to do this like intro skit. I ended up cutting it. It was a really goofy intro skit, and they were supporting me the whole time, but it was just so awkward, right? But then when I'm out there in my canoe all alone, it's different. It's much different.
You can act like nobody's gonna see you until they see you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, I can just cut it. Beauty of editing, right? I was kind of nervous coming on here because it was just raw.
Yeah, for sure. Russell, how you doing tonight, bud?
Dennis, I don't know that my network's any better than yours tonight, but as long as you guys can see me, can you see me?
You look a lot clearer than I do, that's for sure.
Oh, that's good. Hey, Xander, how you doing tonight?
Hey, good, Russell. Nice to meet you.
Dennis, quick question. When I join you for questions, should the light be on the disco ball? Yes or no?
Only if the people ask for it.
Okay, that's cool.
You know, hey, you want to have
Xander,
disco ball going, you do it, man. You do you, Russell.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. This will get weird really fast. I grew up, or sorry, I didn't grow up. I spent a couple of years living on the east coast of Toronto, near the Scarborough Bluffs, which is an awesome area. Ever go to the jazz? Ever go to the jazz festival?
Say that again.
Do you ever go to the jazz festival?
No, I've never been. Is that out there in Scarborough?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, it's not in Scarborough. Well, is it in Scarborough? It's closer to. Anyway, it doesn't. If you've never heard of it, then don't worry about it.
That's cool. I'll have to
but it's
check
pretty
it out.
cool. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Did you guys talk about drones earlier?
Oh, sorry, Russell, you're freezing up there a bit, bud. I didn't catch the question either.
Missing that. Sorry.
Did you guys talk about drones earlier?
Drones? No, we didn't.
No. Tell us about your drone. You got some really nice drone work in your video. This recent one, anyways.
DJI Mini 2. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Mini 2.
Nice and small.
Yeah, sorry, it's cutting in it for me too. So I'm gonna drop
Yeah.
off this anyway.
Okay, Russell. Sorry about that. Thanks
Yeah,
much
sorry
for,
about that, Xander.
popping in. Anyways.
Yeah, it's all good, man. If you want, leave the message,
Yeah.
the question in
Take
the
care.
chat, and we can read it or something.
Yeah. By all means. Okay, I'm gonna drop you down there, Russell. Yeah, isn't the internet grand sometimes, man?
It's great. It's one of the things that I'm most addicted to and miss the most when I'm out in the woods. You know, you come back, it's like, oh my god, look at all this stimulation.
Yeah. So I noticed you use a Garmin InReach out there.
Yeah.
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 What are your thoughts on that there? I use a spot device and I'm looking at making the change possibly.
Man, so I called Garmin. So I love keeping track of like how many kilometers I've done, and it shows you like trip info, but there's no way of like pausing your trip at night. So when I get to a campsite, it's either I have to, like, what happens overnight is like there's like GPS drift, and it'll just start racking up kilometers over the course of like you just staying in one place as it connects to different satellites. So say I paddle like 15 kilometers in a day, it shows 15 kilometers. It's pretty accurate when you're moving, but when you're staying still, it'll just start racking up kilometers. So the next day I'll wake up, it'll be like 20 kilometers. And then I go from there 20 kilometers to my next campsite. And then maybe I do 15 again in a day at 45 kilometers. And then I'm already 5 kilometers ahead. Plus that night, it just keeps racking up. And then this last trip I was on, it added 1,000 kilometers in a day. And so it's just like 1,000. Yeah. I was at like 50 something kilometers, and then I was at 1,250 or something. I don't know, whatever. So, and I call Garmin, there's no way you can like pause that. You can do it in their next model. And the only solution is to like stop your track and restart a track. So it'd be different tracks each day, which is like, I don't like that solution. I mean, like, obviously, I think they should just have a better solution to it, in my opinion. I'm not sure what other things do. Maybe that there isn't a solution.
I think all of them have their glitches, right? Like the spot device, I only bring it just basically for safety's sake. You know, the guys I paddle with are typically, you know, all older than you. So, you know, like, you know, we're all in our 50s and 60s, and it's, you know, it's more, you know, if somebody drops because of the ticker or something, you want to get that person out, right? But, you know, the way they charge you for it, and the way that they just, none of them are an easy solution. None are an easy solution. You got to jump through hoops, and I don't like that.
I just got my Garmin bill for my last trip, and it's $200. I was buying the premium weather reports.
Right.
Yeah, it was silly. I should not have been buying
them. For how long? Is that a year subscription or?
No, that was a month. Like, my month is only like $40, but I was buying premium weather reports, and maybe they're like $5 each. I don't know. I didn't look. I should have looked, and now I pay for it.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So,
Gord Keith kind of hit it on the head here, eh? Spot equals peace of mind. That's basically what we have it for.
Yeah, man. Like, I couldn't imagine going without it. You know, it feels so naked, and like, even though there's more of a risk of like driving there, it's like still I can contact my family. They can watch me. They love that. They can follow me. Yeah. I think that's like one of the things they like the most about it is like they follow my progress. And then I can communicate with them if I need to, which I like refrain from. But the issue though is like I find with that and with my camera, and even like when we were way up north, I still find like I'm never like truly alone at times. You know what I mean? You just like, you still feel like you're kind of connected. Yeah. So I still haven't felt like that. Like, okay, I'm like really, really out there. Like,
and then guys like John, he uses what's it called? Zoleo?
He uses the Zoleo. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that similar to a spot device or a Garmin InReach?
Yeah, I think it's more or less the same.
Okay.
Yeah, he just has to connect to his phone, whereas I don't, which I like about mine. But mine's pretty much bulkier than his. His can fit in his pocket pretty nicely. So I usually just keep mine in my bag because it's so bulky. But there is a screen that you can look at, which is kind of nice. And then, like, if you need in a pinch, like to like look up where you're at, if you kind of get lost, it's like right there. It's so convenient.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's do some speed questions here. What favorite food on a trip?
Oh man, steak. Yeah. Bacon. Ooh. Yeah, the Bannock bacon and eggs in the morning is like pretty decent, and it's like not hard to cook.
Yeah. Do you tend to bring a lot of fresh foods with you on trips, or because I noticed in the one video I was watching there was like a lot of cherry tomatoes being sliced up on
That was the only fresh thing I brought. Yeah, those just add a little bit of like something to those lunches. I took that idea from my brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah,
but yeah, they lasted like 10 days.
I was gonna say, how did you keep them fresh or looking that good for so long? Usually they end up like a big pile of mush in the bottom of a Tupperware container or something, right?
Just didn't do anything. Yeah, I get a lot of questions about like how I keep stuff safe, like as I take them out. It's like if I'm going for a day or two, I just like, bacon lasts, a lot of things last, cheese lasts, like that cheese lasted the whole time.
Yeah, it's a good Costco cheese, right?
Yeah,
I just bought a brick last night.
There you go. Yummy.
Yeah. What was your most wow moment on any of your adventures, winter camping or summer, or one of each? How's that?
Wow moment. When I fell into the water, it was just like a little creek, and I thought I was gonna be able to get close because it looked kind of slushy, and you don't know if like it's slush on top or not. But like just like being in the water is like, oh shit, like what have I just done? And then I was in and out in no time, but it's like, man, things can get hairy there. Even though it was like -15, like there's still like open water in those areas. So, which is wild to me.
Ice is dangerous.
Or that caribou that we saw. That was like, sharing that moment with John. Like, you can't beat it. You can't beat those moments.
Yeah. You know what? They must the caribou herd must be starting to grow or something, because I've been seeing so many YouTubers now starting to report that they're getting video footage of them seeing caribou. Right?
Wow.
So that's a good thing. It means what the reintroduction is starting to take hold. So
it's a magical creature.
Yeah. Do you prefer to paddle or travel solo, or do you prefer to have a partner with you?
Oh man, it's always better going. It's always fun to go with somebody. Well, like my latest experience with John, it was like, I could do that all day. He was such a great partner. But in times like I've been with other people, I'm like, oh, I could be solo right now. So, a little bit of both. I think for content, people enjoy the solo stuff, and I find that I've put out content where I've been with other people where I wasn't connecting enough with the camera, and people they didn't complain, but they're just like, I like it when you go solo because you connect with us, as opposed to when I'm with somebody else, then I'm chatting a lot with them. So I try to bring everybody into the so it's like me, John, and the audience. But it's always nice being with somebody, because I've done other traveling like alone, like backpacking, and you can tell people about like what happened, but it's so much nicer when you're like, you remember that time when we did this and this and that? And they're like, oh yeah. And they feel it too. Traveling with people is great. I love humans. Always
cool. And now I mentioned I watched the Chiniguchi river trip, and you had, that was your brother with you, right?
Yeah, it's my older brother.
And your sister-in-law? Was it
sister-in-law? Yeah, his wife.
Okay. And it looked like she was making food that kind of blew your mind.
Yeah. So so a lot of the stuff I brought on this trip, I took from them. This was my first time dehydrating food for a long trip. Yeah. And, I just like took inspiration from what they did, like the polenta, which is just cornmeal. It was pretty good. It's like mashed potatoes, but like corny. It's pretty nice. I like it. And then, mixed with other stuff. And the dehydrated, if you like buy like a big lasagna, cook that and then dehydrate it, it works really well. It's a good one.
Really? I make my lasagna different. I actually make the noodles and all the dried ingredients, and I mix it, right? Like kind of like what you did on this trip. So
perfect. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do it from scratch, like, man, I'll power to you. It'll probably be way tastier than boxed anything, right?
Yeah. Definitely. That way there, I know what's going in, especially like the fatty cheeses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. We got one more person in the basement here that I will bring up in one moment here. Violet, I'll be with you in 1 second. That'll be it for what we're bringing up into the basement or into the green room. So we'll put a stop to that. But let's bring up Violet here. Hi, Violet. How you doing?
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me. It's like my first time to join any live thing.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah. I've been watching Xander's video for a while. My friend recommended it to me, and we've started doing camping trips, but we're still really new at it. But his video really already taught a lot, like learning from his ones. And it is so inspiring. And like the alone trips you're going to in the beginning is something. In the beginning, we thought it was like, wow, this guy doesn't speak at all, and it was so cool. But later on, now the videos you have now, you talk much more, and it's much more interacting, which is a nice change. But I do still miss those silent videos.
The silent ones?
It's so calming.
Definitely.
To watch.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, do you have any tips for beginners going into camping? Because like we haven't really got into any canoeing or anything. We're in China, and there's not much apart from camping. We only started.
Definitely just get out there and try it. Like you're not going to know everything when you start. I'm sure you've watched like enough content to kind of get a grasp on, the basics that you need to be out there, and then finding a spot and just trying it. You might have a sleepless night your first or second time, your first 2 nights. You might be scared of the things in the woods, which don't really exist. Well, they exist, but like they don't really it's not an issue.
Far and few between.
Right, exactly. So it's just about getting out there and really just trying it. And you're not going to know everything your first time or your second time or your 100th time. But being out there, you will develop what you need to know much faster than being at home. Like it might suck. You might forget something, or you might pack too much, or you might be cold and uncomfortable, or you might have a sleepless night. And then the next time it's like, well, I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm going to, change the plan. And I've learned a ton this year from just doing that, just getting out. The first winter camping trip was like my latest trips were way worse than my earlier trips this year. And there's a lot of stuff that you don't see, but I explained some stuff, like losing things or forgetting things at home. So my suggestion is just get out there and try. And I'll make sure to put out some more silent content for you.
There's nothing really set in stone when it comes to canoe tripping or any backcountry adventure, right? You learn by doing, and you adjust by doing, right?
And there's also no there's no one way to camp either. There's like thousands of different ways, like in different styles. You can camp in your car. You can camp in your backyard. You can go backcountry camping or camp on the side of a cliff. You can bring food from home. Like people ask me like, oh, how do I get my ideas to cook food? It's like, I just bring the food that like I would cook at home. It's like, oh, I feel like French toast. I'm just going to cook it out in the woods. You can do that stuff. There's no like correct way. I mean, everybody has their opinion, but there's like 1,000 ways to do it. And there's wrong ways. I mean, if you're causing harm to the environment or annoying other people, it's wrong. But like, if you're just out there to have fun and you mean well, like, then there's, get out there and do it.
Violet, I have to ask, are you in China now, or are you?
Yeah.
We're
in Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Do you have many opportunities over in China to backcountry adventure?
My friend drives, so we have been driving out of Shanghai for I think only one. Other ones we do nearby Shanghai.
Like Suzhou?
And in Moganshan, in Anji, in some suburb area in Shanghai, like small villages. We just had a really nice one last couple of days ago because it's national holiday right now. We went to a small village and it's not under control. So we were able to just be there on our own, and we made campfires, and it is hard work to make fire go for 8 hours.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of wood you'd have to use to go for that long. That's for sure.
Yeah, but you made it look so easy until we really tried it.
Yeah, it depends where you're at. Like if you're in Canadian Crown Land forests, like you can find some big standing deadwoods, and that's, we have such a luxury here in Canada, and that's something I'm very grateful for. That I've discovered is like, you go somewhere in Europe, they can't do the same things that we do here, which is a shame, and I wish that everybody could have this type of experience to be able to camp the way we do. But you just do what you can with what you have, right? And it sounds like you're doing that. That's awesome. And the next time you go out, it's going to be easier.
Yeah,
it gets easier the more experience. Xander, when you were over in China, did you get the opportunity to do anything over there, or was it strictly work?
It was like, so during the weekdays, like we had to be on call, but weekends we could do whatever. I'll admit, like I did do a lot of partying when I was younger. But the last few times, like I did go to Beijing. I actually camped out on the Great Wall of China just one night, which is pretty cool. And I did some like other traveling to like smaller towns and different cities for not just work, but for like for travel. Went to Hong Kong a few times. Place is beautiful. Lived in Shanghai and Guangzhou, and yeah, mostly stayed in the cities, but I did venture out when I was able to. Definitely.
Cool. Cool. Do you have any more questions for Xander, Violet?
I think I'm just really happy to talk to you guys. That's all with my question.
Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for joining us on panel.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Well, it's probably not nighttime where you are.
It's morning, yeah.
Morning, it's nighttime here. Okay. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, that's incredible, isn't it? Jeez. I never expected somebody from China to be popping onto the live stream.
Yeah, it's
just shows the power or how unique YouTube is and how it connects people, right?
It's wild. I get the comments from all over the world. It's like people see the snow and they're like, "Oh, that's amazing!" Like I don't know. It's really really cool how connected everybody is nowadays.
Sure.
It's amazing.
Well, let's get to a couple more questions here that we have in the chat, and then we'll probably get ready to close up the show for the evening. Let's see here. We got Gord Keith asking another question. He's had quite a few here tonight. Ever get lost on a trip? Do you pack a compass as a backup and know how to use it?
I got turned around on a portage when I did the Madawaska River and Magnetowan. Sorry, with a Magnetowan, and found got my way back to the portage site, and kind of wish I had my GPS on me. Usually I have my GPS on me, so I've been using that. Using a compass, I could definitely be more skilled with it. I think that I won't lie. I've never used a compass in the way that you're probably referring, like to be able to like use landmarking and stuff. So getting severely lost, no.
You're not alone on that, because I'll tell you, I know how to use a compass, but I never use it. I have a keen sense of direction myself. And when I'm out there, I'm really good at following maps and contours and all that stuff, right? So, but you know what? There have been instances where you're second guessing yourself, right? And it's like, because you've never seen the area before, and you know something's supposed to be where it's supposed to be, but it's not where it's supposed to be, right?
Oh yeah,
so
definitely,
kind of crazy. Let's see here. What item would you need to have on a trip, no matter what?
Sleeping bag.
Sleeping bag. That's perhaps your most comforting item, right? You're saying.
Yeah, I like, you can have a tent, but what's that going to do? I mean, you can have a tarp that works pretty well. What item would you need to have on a trip, no matter what? I mean, if you're staying out overnight, like you can sleeping bag, really. That'll keep you safe. I think. I mean, shoes. Like I couldn't think of anything else really. What would you say, Dennis?
You know what? It would probably most likely have to do with a sleeping system as well. Whether it was maybe not a sleeping bag, that's a good question, because there's many items that you'd have to have no matter what. I think a tarp. You know what?
A tarp will keep you dry, right?
Yeah,
you can survive the night that way, but tarp would go further in those conditions for sure.
Tarp and a teddy bear, right? Something to snuggle and keep you warm. That's my dog. So, yeah, no, that's cool. Do you foresee yourself doing many more of these challenge type videos?
Man, they're so fun. Yeah, definitely. I just want to expand my. I think continuous learning has always been one of my the attributes that I like latch onto the most. So, yeah, I want to do it all. I want to learn it all, and those challenges are like super fun. I do want to get into hunting. That's something that I've always been interested in. You know, the whole ethics behind it is like I'm learning about, and there's a lot of shows that inspire me to want to pursue it more, and I want to do it like ethically and in the right way. And I've definitely I got my hunting license like 10 years ago, and it's taken me like a long time to actually even consider dabbling, because it's for me, it's a big deal, killing an animal. But I'd want to do it right. And yeah, learning as much as I can in the outdoors is really my goal. And the challenges, yeah, man, it's so fun. I want to do longer ones. Yeah.
Cool. Do you at this time, do you have any sponsors, anybody that's reached out to you for being saying we want you to be an ambassador type of deal? Like a legit company, because we talked about that earlier. You get them coming out of the woodwork for doing a review on this and that, but like a true ambassadorship.
Right. Phoenix Flashlights wants to do something with me. I've been using their gear from, they reached out to me pretty early, and yeah, they make great gear. They're sold in Mech. They I have a bunch of their stuff, and I like it all. Like they have a lot of stuff. I don't know how many flashlights you really need. Like this big boy, for instance, like I don't need this thing, but it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
I'll keep that at my cottage for those like random days, or my grandparents' cottage. Yeah. Who else? Not much yet.
Yeah.
I got my first like sponsored video segment, but I turned it down because I don't necessarily want to do that one. It's not like something that aligns with something I want to promote. So
right.
It would have been a good bit of money too. And I think for me, it's very important that what I say on my channel is like I have to own it. I don't want to be saying like things that I don't actually like stand behind. I wouldn't feel good about it. And it's not about the money for me. The money is a product of like just doing good work. And so I
had a huge smile on my face because one of the oddest requests I ever had there by email was somebody wanted me to do a review on a breast pump.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thanks.
What am I gonna do with that, right?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Shit. Okay, and one last scenario. So you get this phone call that says, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and I'm the executive producer for the show Alone. We wonder if you would like to be on the show Alone. Would you?"
So, yeah, like that's kind of what I would want to do. In a few years, probably once I learn a lot more. I don't think I know enough yet. A lot of people are like, you should be on the show Alone. It's like I really don't think I know enough. So doing that thing with Kai, I learned a ton. I don't know anything about harvesting game. I know a little bit about fishing now. I know like a little bit about creating structures and wild edibles, but I honestly don't think I know enough. Would I do it? Yeah, probably, but I think I could do better in a few years. I don't expect myself to win or anything, like not even close, but I mainly want to do it for the experience. Talking to Kai and her experience with being out there, like it just seems like so life-changing in such an amazing way. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not about the money or the attention. It's all about that, that like I could do it myself. I could just say, oh, I'm going to go do this challenge. But with not the consequences, but with the added motivation of being part of a show, it's like, there's like a real incentive to go out there and do it as opposed to just like, oh yeah, I'm making just a YouTube video. So yeah, I think that whole concept is pretty awesome and is definitely on my mind.
Yeah. Well, hey, you never know. One day it might they might come a calling, right, with that knock or the phone call. So yeah, brush up on them skills. What skills do you really want to brush up on right now?
Bow hunting and harvesting big game. Yeah. I think if I consider the show Alone, definitely basic safety and outdoor safety. What is it called? Outdoor survival. What is it? First aid, outdoor first aid, whitewater skills, things like that. Yeah, definitely first aid, whitewater skills. I do want to get into bow hunting and things like that, and hunting and procuring food, wild mushrooms. I'm totally getting into that. That's an awesome chapter to open. That's an awesome book of worms to open up. It's so fun. It's like treasure hunting, man. I got so many mushroom books now, and after learning a few, it's like, okay, you can start to identify more. And it's really, really fun. Like, I don't even love mushrooms. Like, I'm not like a mushroom guy. I don't love the taste of them, but like I love finding them and eating them is just such a cool concept that I can't resist. So
yeah, the wild mushrooms you could find and eat, like the ones that are safe, they're a lot different than buying these button mushrooms that you get at the grocery store, anyways, right? So
Definitely.
I'm not a fan of them myself, but yet I get up north, and if I find a lobster mushroom or a chanterelle or something there, I'm like, yeah, this is good.
Can't help it. Yeah,
it's like me. I live near Niagara Falls, Ontario. I see Niagara Falls, like the actual falls, and it's like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I go up north and I see like a 5-foot waterfalls, and I'm taking pictures and I'm all gaga over it.
Right.
It's something new and different, right? So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Xander, you know what? Thanks very much for joining us tonight. It's been a fun time getting to know you a little bit better here. Like I say, I really enjoy your content. Keep up the great work. And you keep going at the rate you're going, you'll be getting that gold button there in about a year's time. So keep it up, man.
We'll see, right? I appreciate it, Dennis. Hey, thanks for having me, man. This 2 hours flew by.
Yeah, it always does. Like we could probably go on for another hour and a half, but you know what? This old guy bladder sometimes dictates my.
No, I'm on your page.
Gameplay, right?
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah,
hey, well,
awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. To everybody in the chat there. Xander, I'm going to drop you into the basement. I'll see you in the green room here after the show. And I'm just going to close things up, and we'll see you shortly. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, dude.
All right. Hey, everybody. I hope you really enjoyed tonight's show. Xander was a fantastic guest. Once again, I do apologize for this entire bad internet. Funny thing is, I'm doing internet speed test here like throughout the show, and it shows I got great internet speed. So something else is awry, and I'm not quite sure what, but we'll get that worked out so that on our next videos, we will be much clearer. Just want to thank everybody for joining in tonight and for all your great questions. To the new channel members, if you're still in the live stream, please do drop me an email at canoehound@gmail.com so we can get your perks started. Kel, thank you very much for that awesome super chat. That's very generous of you. It will go a long way. You know what? Next week, I think I'll dedicate a little better, or the week after, a better swag giveaway. I'll throw in maybe a baseball cap or something to sweeten the pot, because I really do like to give back to my viewers, as you know, and that's an awesome thing. Just to finalize and close up here, let's see here. Yeah, if you haven't already done so and you enjoyed the show, apart from the quality of my video, please do hit that subscribe button or hit the thumbs up down there. I'm not sure what our thumbs up count is, but I know we've been hovering around 100, 120 people all night on the live stream. It'd be great to have some great thumbs up on that. Just if not for myself, at least for the guest that we had on, Xander. He did a great job. Just a reminder, next week, no show. Family vacation or family holiday with Thanksgiving, but we will be returning on October the 19th with Carol Vandenegel and Glenn Green from Canoe for Change. The week after that, we will be having Newfoundland's own my goodness, brain fart right now. But anyways, we'll be back there on the 29th, I think that is. But if you have any guest suggestions, please drop me an email at canoehound@gmail.com and let me know who you'd like to see on the show. In the meantime, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. And remember, keep the adventures alive. Until next time.